Awesome. Welcome to Trust Your Glitter podcast. This is Christy, and this is for the week of May 21st through 28th astrology. And I have my tarot cards with me. So, this is not going to be a very long episode. It's a very sort of recap the week. We just came out of a new moon in the sign of Taurus, and a lot of the questions of last week was what are your personal values and how have things shifted as of last week? Because for a lot of people, there has been a major shift, and it can be a tangible, palpable thing, or it can just be a mindset shift. There's something that revealed itself last week to you that really made you go, okay, this is what my self care, self value, self worth, um, sort of fate points are directing you towards. And that kind of continues this week. So actually, this is not a lot of week of transits, but it is a pretty aspect heavy week. Um, I'm not going to talk about semi-squares this week, but I want to point out there are some semi-squares this week, and a lot of them have to do with the planet Venus. Venus is in the sign of Cancer, which is a water sign ruled by the moon. So we want to take very, very extra special care of ourselves this week. And I wrote a note just to top off this podcast by saying Venus in Cancer is getting a lot of lessons about home, self-care, which is a continual and underlying theme. So we're going to kind of see this theme kind of play up until there is a full moon in June. But this week, I want to talk about the aspects. Today, the 21st, the sun moved into the sign of Gemini. So happy Gemini season to everybody. Happy birthday if you're Gemini, or if you have Gemini aspects. It's all about Mercury. Mercury is still in Taurus. So it is about building. It is about growing. It is about, again, self-talk, self-value, self-care. And today, as I record this podcast, Sunday the 21st, the sun in Gemini at 0 degrees is trine, which is meaning in a harmonious aspect to Pluto, who's also in the air sign of Aquarius. I was reflecting on what this energy is, because it is a harmonious energy. But Pluto in Aquarius is asking us to dig deeper in a lot of ways. So conversations around the subjects of the new moon are going to get very deep. And in this particular case, I'm going to talk about feminism a lot more on these podcasts, just because I'm an Aries sun, and that's kind of my job as an astrologer. So with Algol being aspected last week by the new moon in Taurus, there was a lot of beauty to those aspects with the new moon. But as we go through this week, the only two big transits are today, the sun rolls into the sign of Gemini, Mercury ruled sign. And then, and let me just flip my page. On the 27th, we have a first quarter moon, and that's at 11:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 6 degrees of Virgo. Now, a first quarter moon is where you want to take those aspects and you get tested on what the new moon growth cycle was. And with a new moon, we're setting intentions. So the practical aspects of each moon phase, each lunar phase, is we're taking the phases through. And a moon cycle is literally a monthly cycle. A monthly cycle. So shout out Rick Levine, who always on his astrology updates always pays respect to the moons. So I want to talk about that because according to certain articles that I've tried to kind of look at related on how to relay this properly, this is where this takes root. And I'm also healing my lunar energy as well. I think when I'm talking about feminism, I'm going to be talking more and more about each lunar phase. I think that's what I'm going to contribute through my podcasts on Trust Your Glitter, because lunar phases are everything. They are our emotional cycles, our emotional well-being, and the aspects of working and phasing with the divine feminine. And I want to talk about this because as we go through until the 27th, there are so many aspects that do take place that I think are very harmonious. So on the 22nd, the sun in Gemini is sextile to Mars in Leo. Now, a lot of people might be tweeting about this or putting out publications that this sextile has been in the sky. So it's basically been in the sky. And this entire week, by the way, we still are playing out that grand cross energy, that fixed cross in the sky where there's an aspect between the North Node in Taurus, the South Node in Scorpio, Pluto in Aquarius, and Mars in the sign of Leo. Yes, there's going to be days where this is in a more exact position, and there's going to be days this week that that's true. But trust me on this, this is where these aspects are really asking us about our value, self-worth, and what we really, really want to do with our lives. So this is a really big deal. So I want to get to cards now, but I'm like, let's talk about aspects a little bit more. So on the 22nd, with that sun sextile to Mars, very nice, a very harmonious conversation between Mars, the planet of action in the fire sign of Leo, and the sun who wants to communicate that action. So yes, it's a great day on the 22nd to take that action towards your goals. The 23rd, we do have, and again, this cross is in the sky. So yes, the ephemera shows that Mars is square to Jupiter, Jupiter who is aspecting with the North Node in Taurus, but this aspect has been in the sky since last week. So basically the 16th of May through the 23rd of May, this aspect is extremely important and extremely potent for us all. And it goes throughout this whole week. It's really one of those things where this is our life and we're being asked, what do we want to grow in our garden? What do we want to cultivate? On the 26th, Mars is square the North Node at 3 degrees. So Mars being at 3 degrees of Leo and the North Node being at 3 degrees of Taurus. Again, this is that fixed grand cross. And heading through our first quarter moon, the 27th and the 28th, the sun is square to Saturn. So the sun being at 6 degrees of Gemini and Saturn being at 6 degrees of Pisces. This is important because, you know, that sun square Saturn and the quarter moon are actually aspecting each other as well. So I want to talk about that because there's also a lot of mutable, movable energy in the sky as well. So we do have a lot of fixed sign, holding, stagnant energy, but this week, the mutable energy also provides movement forward. And I'm going to do just a quick, this is a very quick podcast this week. Just 3 cards for the week. One fell on the floor. I can't not be an awkward astrologer, okay? I am always the most awkward. I feel like all these people have like podcasts where, you know, they're doing their thing and I'm like dropping cards on the floor. So I have the Page of Swords out, which is about communications. It is about kind of from a very vulnerable space. So it's saying, like, asking, hey, let me just try this thing. Let's do this thing. Let's see what's next to that though. And I love it because of course the sun is in Gemini. And 2, 3, bottom of the deck. Ooh, the Four of Pentacles, which did come out for many aspects through the eclipses. So that Four of Pentacles is about holding things. And I do think this is that fixed grand cross energy coming through, holding energy. It is about possessions as well, finances, gathering energy. Next to the Page of Swords, we have the Five of Wands, which can be about arguments. And who's next to that is the Queen of Cups. So I do think that there is some sort of argument. It can also be internal because Pluto is very active in the sky. But the idea of getting through this, I think this is Venus in the sign of Cancer. Self-compassion, again, creativity gets us through. I think that that is going to be the theme of this entire eclipse cycle. because we had our eclipse cycle April, May, taking us out to the end of the year, is our creativity is what really, really, really allows us to get through any tough situations. And I'm not going to talk about global stuff, but I do think that this Five of Wands is definitely about a global argument. So watch news stories for big fights. And just one card to kind of close this out. It's a very short podcast this week. These aspects kind of really want us to reflect on what happened last week. What did we learn? So if you're just, and here she is again, the Queen of Cups. So that Venus, again, that lesson of creativity, taking root. Let me just see if there's anything in my notes I forgot. I wrote this, and I'm just going to say it as kind of I wrote this when I was meditating this morning, and I didn't think I was going to share it on the podcast, but I wrote, my home, all of this furniture, all of these achievements on the wall. And last week I was talking about, horse show ribbons. And I think that we live our life based on achievements, based on, what success looks to us. But what really is the achievement from within? So all of these achievements on the wall, in all honesty, means nothing at the end of the day. What matters is heart, soul, and self-love. So if that's meant for anybody, I think that's what the Queen of Cups message is. And let me just do a final shuffle, pull out one card. Someone wants to come out. Oh, here's that Chariot card. Movement, lunar cycles, 2023, 7, spiritual quests, spiritual journeys. I want to say this. Nobody can judge your spiritual journey. Everybody's on a very different spiritual path. It's constant. It's constant self-development, constant research, constant inward, turning inward. And once you think you get to that lesson, a retrograde comes along, a square comes along, a conjunction comes along, and you go, oh yeah, I needed to see it from this side or from this angle. But I think that Chariot is saying, hey, you're looking at this from both sides. You're a spiritual seeker, the Chariot. You're directing your path. You're directing your chariot. And that can mean that you're turning away from something that looked really awesome. Maybe you're turning away from maybe a job or literally that 501s that was out, a friend group, something that had you in the trenches. The reality is the why did I say seven? The Chariot. The Chariot wants you to direct that path. Maybe I thought maybe 7 of Wands going through the competition, but the Chariot wants you to direct through that path. And this is a balance of divine masculine, divine feminine. I like how that looks with the green screen. It's just like, and here, the Chariot appears, only to go back into the ethers. I love it. Yeah, I love it. Okay. To my fellow nerds out there, I hope you enjoyed this little podcast. It's a very short and sweet, quick and dirty podcast. And yeah, if I'm seeing the number 7, also pay attention. If you're seeing 777, cycles of 7, that could be also something that's more of a clue, more of a synchronicity for you this week. So have a great week. You can find me on all the social media. Trust Your Glitter, Christy Belich. Follow me on anything. I need some follows, some likes, some subscriptions, some sharing, whatever you can do. If you have an idea for what I need to pull cards for, if I'm not addressing, I love how I clip my nail there. Do you hear that? Oh yeah, maybe one of the things is, should I change Trust Your Glitter to just Christy is hella awkward and she's the awkward astrologer? So let me know if you want me to change Trust Your Glitter to the awkward astrologer. That's a possibility too. But if you have any questions for me, comment, like, subscribe, podcast ideas, interview ideas, just let me know. Drop it in the comments and have a great week ahead.